This is an RNZ podcast.
Bonjour, mes amis, je m'appelle Ben Strang. I'm the host of RNZ's Paris Essentials podcast, and we had one of the marquee events of the Olympic Games this morning, which was incredibly exciting, the men's 100 metres, and it ended up being a photo finish. It was one of the best 100-metre races you will ever see. America's Noah Lyles taking the title with a time of 9.784 seconds, which was 5 thousandths faster than Kashane Thompson of Jamaica. He had a 9.789 second time, which is incredible. Way back in third, miles back, was the American of Fred Curley, 9.81 seconds. Every single racer under 10 seconds. The slowest time was 9.91. So yes, an amazing final, one we won't forget, that is for sure. Today we'll also hear from Lydia Ko on the podcast ahead of the women's golf tournament, and we'll hear from Eliza McCartney ahead of the pole vault, which has 3 Kiwis competing this time, which is very exciting. We'll also cross to the US to find out how they're taking their success. They have an interesting way of interpreting the medal chart, which is overall medals rather than gold medals. That is until they top the gold medal chart, and then they'll look at it like a normal person. So that's very interesting from the USA. But let's start today by looking at that 100-metre men's final, which was quite incredible. On Morning Report, Nathan Rarere had a chat with Corin Dan shortly after the final. Nathan, this delivered.
Wowee. It did. I mean, talking with Ingrid last time, I was sort of saying the cool thing about this is they all qualified so close together, and I was talking hundredths of seconds then. I didn't realise we were going to come down to thousandths of seconds there. And look, Noah Lyles has a really interesting relationship with American sport. He is, they tend to be very brash, the 100-metre runners. And when he came out tonight, he, rather than just walking to the blocks quietly, he skipped down the track there for about 15 metres doing the come on. And a lot of people really don't like that about him, particularly in America. Also, he, in a press conference, they were talking about the NBA champions or something, they call themselves the champs. And he's like, champion of what? He goes, what? Champion of America. Come to the Olympics. Try and be champion of the world. And, of course, a lot of them in the States have been saying, yeah, but you've never been champion of these things. You're always coming up short. Well, now he is. And his much like Usain Bolt was, his main thing that he came from was 200 metres. So he's got that incredibly strong finish that Noah Lyles has and, gets over the top there of Kashane Thompson. Now, I know that we've been playing the commentary, but I just thought on an audio medium, sometimes for a radio listener, it's still hard to imagine how long that race takes and what it does. So what I've got now, Katrina's going to play a piece of music. This is going to last exactly as long as Noah Lyles winning the gold medal. Okay, take it away, Katrina. There you go. That is how fast that he did that. Now, I went and had a bit of a study around too. So the last, of course, the Paris Olympics, the original ones were in 1900. The winner was Frank Jarvis of the United States, and he ran that in 11 seconds. So he would have been nowhere near
so they've come over a second and brought it down over a second over 100 odd years. Just very quickly on that, I mean, just watching the start of that race, the contrast between, as you say, Noah Lyles, who was pumped, he was yelling at the crowd, chest beating, hands are out in the air, jazz hands, all that sort of stuff, and Kashane Thompson was steely-eyed and standing there saying absolutely nothing. It was quite the contrast, so there was a real show, and I guess that's what everyone wants.
They really left them out. Yeah, they left them out there for quite a while too, because the French love their flair. They love a bit of razzmatazz. Of course, they had, we've got to show the lights around our fancy track we've got, isn't it great? And there was all sorts of music, and I thought, I wonder if Noah Lyles has used his energy too early, because he was bouncing around and set to go, and then that went for so long he was almost standing there, and I thought, I wonder if he's gone flat on this. So no, that was a brilliant final.
It worked for him
of the 100 metres, and like I said, no clear winner, so it was brilliant.
Hey, just a very quick outlook. What have we got to come here in the next couple of days? Some interesting stuff.
Yeah, so exciting time. So what will be 8 o'clock my time tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock your time tonight. It's the mixed relay final of the triathlon. So that's Dylan McCulloch, Nicole van der Kay, Ainsley Thorpe and Hayden Wild. It's just like a normal relay. So a 300 metre swim, an 8K bike ride and a 2K run, so much shorter than they were competing in the other day. But they do it, as a relay. So all four of them will go in there. We've got an incredible fleet of women's pole vaulters that are heading out to the big stadium. They'll be underway just before 9 o'clock New Zealand time, about 8:40 p.m. there as well, and Connor Bell in the discus. The sailors still getting things done there in Marseille where the wind has picked up a bit, so that's good. And a young woman I met the other day who I think might be the most interesting Olympian I've spoken to so far. Her name's Sarah Tetzlaff, really deep thinker, and quite an incredible young woman there. She's in the sport climbing, and that's that one where they've just got those walls that go straight up and then they fly up them like a spider up a curtain. They're quite unreal with that. So that's her chance for the qualifying will be tonight New Zealand time at 11 o'clock.
And that was Nathan Rada there talking to Corrindan on Morning Report, only minutes after that final. Like I said, an incredible final. You'll see the replays of that for a very long time to come, I think. Just this wave of incredibly fast men approaching the camera in one line and then trying to decipher who won it all. It was a pretty incredible spectacle. So a great day of action at the athletics. But let's look ahead now. New Zealand's athletes, it's been a bit of a quiet one over the weekend, but it was all going to ramp up again very shortly. Lydia Ko is competing in the golf tournament. She had a silver in Rio and a bronze in Tokyo. So she's trying to complete the set. She wants to go gold this time. She talked to Barry Guy.
Lydia, you're 1 point away from the Hall of Fame, you're golfing royalty. How many interviews these days do you do standing out on the side of the road?
Not many interviews on the side of the road, but yeah, the Olympics is different. I think it's obviously the games are run by different organizations and different bodies, so it is always a little bit different to like my everyday event on the LPGA. But when I go in the media center, a lot of the media communications people, staff from our tour is also here this week, so it's great to see familiar faces. But I'm not that popular, so I don't have to do like that many crazy amounts of interviews.
You don't get the New Zealand media very often, I suppose, do you?
Oh, I just don't go home very much, and obviously with the time zone, it's very difficult. But I know sometimes, when it works, they contact the LPGA and it kind of gets through to us. So.
Do you miss, if you get back, what do you miss doing in New Zealand?
I was there last time for my honeymoon, and I got a hole-in-one at Tairidi, which is really cool. But I think when you're away from home for a long time, you don't really miss it because you're so accustomed to, like my life in America. But, when I go back home, that's when I kind of realize again, like what I'm missing out, the people, just like how calm everything is, and I love the pace of living in New Zealand. So I'm excited to go back there soon and have some good food. And I think that's the thing about home is like you miss it, but then you don't. But then when you are away from it, you realize like how good you had it. And I do hope that I have more frequent visits in the future.
And you've had your New Zealand team greeting,
Yes.
Which you don't get very often. How was that?
Yeah, it was really cool, and to kind of like know the meaning of everything. It definitely kind of, I think, brings all of the Olympians, and not only the New Zealand Olympians, but New Zealanders together. And it's you don't get something like this where you can cherish and you actually feel like you're like united. So it's I think one of the coolest part of being on Team New Zealand, getting this welcome, and that every other Olympian has it as well. So it's something that I cherish, and I obviously won't be playing golf with it on, but it'll be in my golf bag, just as good I think good energy that I get from it.
If you follow the Hollywood script, you've had silver and bronze, and so there's really only one place to go now, isn't it?
Yeah, I said I would kind of be like the Cinderella story if I win gold here in Paris. I went into Rio hoping that I would be at a medal, and I medaled there. And I think Tokyo was a little bit of a surprise because I wasn't playing at my highest level of golf. I've definitely played better, coming into the games, but, I'm still coming off with a little bit better momentum, playing pretty well in Canada. So, I think there's things about like these kind of events that bring out the good in you, those good adrenaline, and hopefully I can channel all that in and just have a great week, and just be aggressive and confident. And I think all in all, at the end of the day, I'm very proud to represent New Zealand, so kind of have all of that good energy with me and feel like I'm not alone when I'm on the golf course.
And you have the Olympic rings on your bicep. Are you thinking of adding anything to that after this one?
No, I actually didn't get anything for Tokyo. I wanted to get the date that I won the medal in Rio because it was my first one. I already have a lot of ink on my body, so I'm not really sure if I should keep adding. But it's got the ferns as well, so it's it reminds me of that special moment, and you're either Olympian or not, and this is, I think, something that I think gives me a lot of confidence, and something that I can be really proud of as well. So no extra ink probably, but if I do win gold, maybe I can't promise anything.
A couple of golf questions. So I understand you might catch up with Daniel and Ryan, when they've completed, just to get a little insight to the course perhaps?
Yeah, outside of that, it would be just nice to, see them. I've known Foxy since we were both on the national team, like as amateurs and as juniors. So it would be nice to catch up with him. Obviously, he's been doing so well on the PGA Tour, and Dan's been doing great on the DP. So yeah, as much as I'm getting information from them, it's just nice that 3 New Zealand golfers are all the way over in Paris and catching up. So yeah, I think it'll be very, very light, and more so a catch up. But if I can get some tips along the way, that's great.
And that was Lydia Ko talking to Barry Guy from just outside the golf venue. It's quite funny, them talking about being out on the roadside. This is how it works. If you don't have the accredited rights and you're not able to play the commentary and stuff, then you've got to actually step outside the venues to talk to people, which is quite a quirk of the Olympic Games for those who aren't accredited. So let's do that again then with Eliza McCartney. She is back in the pole vault this time. She missed out on Tokyo through injury, but she was, of course, a bronze medalist back in Rio in 2016. She's one of 3 New Zealanders competing. Olivia McTaggart and Imogen Ayres are also competing for New Zealand. She also caught up with Barry Guy.
It's a little weird that we're competing at exactly the same time. He's 4th to 8th and I'm 5th to 7th, but that's just the way it's played out this time. But no, I feel really good about how we're going to be able to stay in touch and support each other without having to get too emotionally invested in what the other person's going through, because that's really a really hard thing. We weren't really sure how we were going to go about it, to be honest. But I feel good about what we're doing. And I think, we're gonna be able to support each other really well, despite him being far away and both of us needing to be focused on our own things.
You can sort of just debrief on a few things occasionally, not totally thinking about yourself or something. Is that good?
Well, yeah, I think distractions are really important at this time. Good distractions, of course. It is nice that I can be able to support him in that way. We both know that we're there for each other, we're backing each other, even if we can't be in the village together or communicate that easily. But yeah, it's a pretty wild thing that we're both at an Olympics together. Yeah, that's a bit of a dream come true for us, really. We didn't, wasn't quite sure if it would happen, and here we are. So it's very cool.
When you get the opportunity, will you just be quickly giving a look to see how things are going, and him vice versa, you think?
I mean, not on my comp day, I think, because that might be a bit too stressful for me. On the days I'm not competing, yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll be checking in. They've got live tracking with sailing, of course, and I always find that's the easiest way for me to watch. It takes the emotion out of it a little bit, almost just seeing little tracking, and you can see what's going on without getting too worried about it. But on my comp days, I tend to become very insular and tunnel vision and not know much about what else is going on.
So qualifying, how do you focus on that, or what's the prep for that sort of thing?
That's basically only where my focus is right now. Qualifiers are strange competitions. They really are. I mean, you don't know what height you have to jump, you don't know how long you'll be jumping for, you don't know what it's going to require. So it's a bit of a weird mindset. and I think they require a lot of respect as well, and not just to come in guns blazing and open at a high height and no height. Like, they're not the easiest things to do, and so I always keep my focus first on the qualifier, because I have to be able to get through that, obviously, to be able to go to a final. So I'm just thinking about what I need to do on that day to be jumping at my best, to perform at my best, and that's really it right now, to be perfectly honest.
How has it been, the last couple of months, all set?
Yeah, no, going really, really well at the moment. I feel really confident in where I'm at and my ability to be able to jump really well at the moment. So things are lining up nicely, so I just need to be focused, obviously, and set myself up to have the best shot at some big jumps while I'm here. But really, yeah, the focus is just to be ready for anything and not kind of have that, I guess, that mindset of like, this is guaranteed, or that the finals right around the corner right now. For me, getting through qualifiers is going to be really big, and it's going to be a massive tick since I haven't been at Olympics for 8 years. So yeah, that's just where I'm at.
And that was Eliza McCartney talking to Barry Guy. Now, let's talk more about these US athletes. The US medal table has been a bit of a hoot, really. They have a very different way of looking at things in the United States. As I mentioned before, they look at the total medals when they're ranking where you sit on the table. So you could have 71 bronze medals, and it means you're doing better than somebody who has 19 golds. That's America. We don't look at it like that. We look at it like normal people. It's kind of like they look at miles and they have Fahrenheit and they gallons. Who has gallons for petrol, The Americans do. So they just look at things slightly different. Either way, they're actually now topping the medal table. They got 19 golds and more than 70 medals, so they are going all right. Nathan Rarere on First Up, he caught up with his American correspondent, Catherine Firkin, and they talked through all of those US successes.
There's been no shortage of the USA chant going around the Paris stadiums. Gymnastics has again been hugely successful for the Americans, with Suni Lee claiming bronze in the uneven bars final. Not sure if you got to see it, but there was a massive roar from the American crowd as she landed her dismount from the uneven bars. Lee was actually the only American to participate in the final, which had 8 athletes, after Simone Biles placed 9th, just missing out in the qualification round. But of course, the uneven bars are the favourite event of Lee. They're considered to be her signature skill. And certainly she scored a really impressive 14.8 from the judging panel, coming behind 2 17-year-olds, Algeria and China. But of course, Simone Biles isn't out yet. She's still got a couple of events to look forward to. She's going to be involved in the floor events and also in the balance beam. She's still got to go. She's got so many events. I'm just busy scrolling through them. She's had such a successful campaign though, hasn't she? I mean, the number of medals now, she's claimed 10 Olympic medals. That's just really, really hard to believe. And certainly just recently she claimed the gold in the women's vault final, the second time she's actually won that title. Just really quite extraordinary and huge, huge success for the Americans in gymnastics particularly.
You spoke about gymnastics and, of course, they've gone big in the athletics as well. But there's been success in some lesser-known sports too, hasn't there?
Yeah, you're right. Well, it's not really surprising, is it? Team USA has the most number of athletes out of any nation. They've actually got a staggering 10,500 competitors in this Olympics. And of course, many of those are in sports that are perhaps, a little less glamorous than gymnastics or athletics, but still plenty of success to be had. In fact, today, American archer Brady Ellison claimed the silver in the men's individual archery event. He actually looked like he might take the gold. He was neck and neck with South Korea's Kim Woo-jin. The pair were tied 5-5 after 5 sets in the final. It actually took the match to a shoot-off. Incredibly exciting. Sadly, the American just missed out, but still an incredible achievement to take home the silver. America also claimed silver in the 50-metre rifle, 3 positions shooting final, and they got another silver in the equestrian jumping team final, plus a bronze in rowing's skiff medal race. So a really dominant past 24 hours.
Now, I know that China lead with the gold medals. How are the Americans looking at the medal table? Because I think they're still believing they're winning.
It's very interesting being over here and seeing the American coverage of the Olympics. They certainly like to interpret the medal tally as if they are absolutely on top. But technically, according to the official tally, they are coming in second behind China. They're still doing incredibly well. They've claimed a total of 67 medals all up, and that is the most of any nation. But there are a lot of silvers and bronze in there, which explains why they're not at the top of the tally board. They've got 17 gold medals at this stage. China has 18. And rounding out the top 5, we've got France in third, Australia's in fourth, and as you heard from Henry before, Great Britain doing incredibly well. I'm not sure I've ever seen them so high up an Olympic medal tally. They're currently sitting in 5th position.
That was Catherine Firkin talking to Nathan Rarere on First Up. So let's have a look at the action that is coming up today. Firstly, we have the triathlon mixed team relay. So it's straight into the final for this. Dylan McCulloch, Nicole van der Kay, Ainsley Thorpe and Hayden Wild from 6 p.m. tonight, New Zealand time. New Zealand's not expected to get a medal, but they are an outside chance. You just never know with one of these. So we will wait and hope that the New Zealand mixed relay team do a good job in the triathlon. In the athletics, the men's discus qualification with Connor Bell starts at 8:10 p.m. The women's pole vault qualification, so that is Imogen Aris, Eliza McCartney and Olivia McTaggart, is from 20 to 9. In the sailing, the NACRA 17 races 7 to 9 for Micah Wilkinson and Erica Dawson from 10 p.m. The women's kite surfing, Justina Kitchen at 10:03. The men's kite surfing with Lucas Walton Kime is at 10:13. And the women's dinghy, Greta Pilkington, 10:15 p.m. The sport climbing, Sarah Tetzlaff gets underway, qualification seeding from 11 p.m. and then the elimination rounds from 11:40. Back at the sailing, the men's dinghy races 9 and 10 for Thomas Saunders is at 12:40 a.m. In the wrestling, the women's 68 kg freestyle, Taylor Ford from 1 a.m. The kayak cross quarterfinals. This is very exciting, this new sport. 4 of them racing down the whitewater at the same time. Luca Jones is in her quarterfinal from 1:30 a.m. and Finn Butcher is in the men's quarterfinal from 1:52. If they do well, the big finals are going to be running at 2:55 a.m. for the women and 3 a.m. for the men. So fingers crossed they can go deep in the competition. The track cycling gets underway as well. The women's team sprint of Shanae Fulton, Elise Andrews and Rebecca Petch qualifying at 3 a.m. And the men's 4,000 metre team pursuit, they have their qualifying rounds. Tom Sexton, Aaron Gate, Keegan Hornblow and Campbell Stewart from 3:27 a.m. And then the athletics, the men's 3,000 metre steeplechase heats, George Beamish is on at 5:04 a.m. So there you go. Make sure you set your alarm and get up. I think it's going to be the kayak cross for me. It's a very exciting watch. So it's an ungodly hour, isn't it? 1:30 a.m. But I'll probably be up watching it. Why not? That is us for today. Another episode of Paris Essentials in the bag. We will be back again tomorrow at 11 a.m. bringing an episode to you to le jour during the games every day. Make sure you follow and listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. But until tomorrow, à demain. Au revoir.